Amigos de Almuerzo de Negocios, y seguimos acá en FOA Impacta, en este evento de la publicidad en la República Dominicana, y ahora tenemos con nosotros a Cindy Gallop, quien es una de las conferencistas que estará compartiendo con la audiencia en el día de hoy. Es pues una muy experimentada experta en el mundo de la publicidad, y con ella vamos a estar hablando de lo que está ocurriendo en la industria. Cindy, nice to have you. It's an honor to have you here in our show, and to talk a little bit about what's happening in the advertising industry. What's the changes that are happening, and how those changes are impacting the world, not just the business, but also the world. And it's an honor to have you here.
Thank you. I'm thrilled to be here.
Make love, not porn, hashtag or campaign. Nowadays, people doesn't have the clarity of how this love and porn differentiation, or the porn industry is so low right now, because the pornography is everywhere. It's in the cellular phones. It's not in the magazines right now, or in the 2 or 3 channels. How this campaign impact in the objective that you already have these days?
Sure. So the important thing is to say that Make Love Not Porn is my business. Okay, it's not a campaign. It is a for-profit business.
My mistake.
That's okay. My business actually started by accident. So how it came about is I date younger men. They tend to be men in their 20s. And about 15, 16 years ago, I began realizing through my direct personal experience dating younger men that I was encountering what happens when 2 things converge. And I stress the dual convergence because most people think it's only one thing. I realized that I personally was experiencing what happens when today's, as you've said, total freedom of access to hardcore pornography online meets our society's equally total reluctance to talk openly and honestly about sex. When those 2 factors converge, porn becomes sex education by default in not a good way. So I experienced this personally. I'm a naturally action-oriented person, and so I want to do something about this. So nearly 15 years ago now, and bear in mind, this is long before anybody else talked about this or realized this.
Yes, because it wasn't 50 years ago, there was a taboo.
Well, it still is, but the point is that today, everywhere you look, there are newspaper headlines going, "Oh my God, kids are learning about sex from porn." 15 years ago, nobody was talking about that.
Wow.
No one was writing about it. This was me in isolation, as I say, naturally action-oriented, deciding to do something about this. So nearly 15 years ago, I put up on no money a tiny clunky website at makelovenotporn.com that in its original version was just words. The construct was porn world versus real world. Here's what happens in the porn world, here's what really happens in the real world.
Wow.
I had the opportunity to launch Make Love Not Porn at the TED conference in 2009. I became the only TED speaker to say the words "come on my face" on the TED stage.
Oh my God.
6 times in succession. My talk went viral as a result, and it drove this extraordinary global response to my tiny website that I had never anticipated.
Oh my God.
Thousands of people wrote to me from all around the world. Young and old, male and female, straight and gay, pouring their hearts out, telling me things about their sex lives and their porn watching habits they'd never told anyone before.
Wow.
And I realized I'd uncovered a huge global social problem.
So bigger than you already realized.
Yeah, I mean, no, exactly. And so I then felt I had a personal responsibility. I had to take Make Love Not Porn forwards in a way that would make it much more far-reaching, helpful and effective. And so I turned Make Love Not Porn into a business designed to do good and make money simultaneously.
Wow.
So today, Make Love Not Porn is, as our slogan, our tagline says, we are pro-sex, pro-porn, pro-knowing the difference. We are the world's first and only user-generated, 100% human-curated social sex video sharing platform. So we're kind of what Facebook would be if it allowed you to socially, sexually self-express, which it doesn't.
Yes.
The way to think about Make Love Not Porn is, if porn is the Hollywood blockbuster movie, Make Love Not Porn is the badly needed documentary. We are a unique window onto the funny, messy, loving, wonderful sex we all have in the real world. And what we're doing is we are socializing, normalizing, and destigmatizing sex.
Wow.
Bringing it out of the shadows into the sunlight to promote consent, communication, good sexual values and behavior. We are literally sex education through real world demonstration. And by the way, I foresaw the creator economy 15 years ago when I concepted this around a revenue sharing business model to democratize access to income. So our members at Make Love Not Porn pay to subscribe and watch real world sex videos, and half that money then goes to our contributors, whom we call our Make Love Not Porn stars.
And the big question that came into my head right now is, you already tell me something about this, but how this crusade has changed around the 50 years that you already have bring this issue into the world? Because 50 years ago, it was so different from now. Now it's so open to talk about these issues, and 50 years ago it was not.
No, I'm sorry to tell you that 15 years on, things have not improved as much as I would like them to. And what I mean by that is, the one thing I did not realize when I began this business was that I would fight an enormous battle every day to build and grow Make Love Not Porn. Because every piece of business infrastructure any other tech startup can just take for granted, we can't, because the small print always says no adult content. And that is all pervasive across every single area of the business. I can't get funded. I couldn't get banked. It took me 4 years to find one bank in America that would allow me to open a business bank account for Make Love Not Porn. My biggest business growth inhibitor is that we are banned from advertising anywhere. We cannot promote Make Love Not Porn
Google doesn't
on Facebook.
put advertising on you.
No, exactly. There are endless barriers. So I've spent the past 15 years parallel pathing two things: working to build Make Love Not Porn and working to change the business and cultural context around it. Because when you have a truly world-changing startup, you have to change the world to fit it, not the other way around.
Wow.
And so the good news is, 15 years later, those barriers are falling, but still very slowly. The problem that we are solving at Make Love Not Porn is global. It's still a huge problem. It's even bigger today. Children are absolutely learning about sex from porn, and the world is still refusing to educate children and young people around sex. But the great thing is that at Make Love Not Porn, we are building a community around shared good sexual values and good sexual behavior. And as a unique business, we have unique power. We have the ability to change people's sexual attitudes and behavior for the better in a way that nothing else can. And I'll tell you why I'm so happy to be here in the Dominican Republic. Because first of all, this is the first time I've ever visited your amazing country. I love it. Secondly, I want to just say that Impacta FOA is a brilliant conference, because at Impacta FOA we are discussing very future-forward themes that the advertising industry everywhere should be discussing but isn't. So this is the most future-forward advertising conference in the world. But the third reason I'm happy to be here is because the Dominican Republic is very well represented on Make Love Not Porn.
Wow.
We have 31 Make Love Not Porn stars, contributors from the Dominican Republic.
No way.
Yes. So already your country is, hashtag Make Dominican Republic Love Not Porn. And so I'm thrilled that Dominican Republic has embraced our message of what we call the social sex revolution. The revolution isn't the sex, it's the fact we're finally making it social, out in the open.
And making it real, because the porn is not real. And this is something that...
Porn is performative, produced.
Yes, it's like Hollywood itself in the 50s, 70s, 80s. It's just a performing. It's not a representation of the real life.
No, exactly. And so we are showing you, we are answering the question that everybody has asked since the dawn of time, which is, what is everybody else really doing in bed? And now at last at Make Love Not Porn, you can see. And we are a hugely beneficial social impact business for a number of reasons. For example, at Make Love Not Porn, we celebrate real world everything. Real world bodies, real world hair, real world penis size, real world breast size. And the reason that's important is because, you can talk body positivity all you like. You can preach self-love until you're blue in the face. At the end of the day, nothing makes us feel great about our own bodies like seeing people who are no one's idea of aspirational body types getting turned on by each other, desiring each other, having an amazing time in bed. In a world where popular culture sends us all messages every day that tell us you're not hot, you're not sexually attractive and desirable unless you are this skinny, six-pack abs, look like this. Our members write to us and say, you made me feel better about my own body.
Wow.
One man wrote and said, my girlfriend and I now feel able to be more open and sensual with each other because you made each of us feel better about our own bodies.
Wow.
Then importantly, we celebrate real-world love, emotion, intimacy, feelings. And the reason that's important is because, again, all around us in popular culture, we see many stories and expressions of relationships, but we never see the actual sex. On Make Love Not Porn, you see the actual sex, but you also see the relationships. Because in our videos, those two things are indivisible.
That maybe is the 50% of the reason that we are there in the bed.
Exactly. And so what is very interesting is, I designed Make Love Not Porn to be fully gender equal, diverse and inclusive. And we are. Our members and our Make Love Not Porn stars range in age from 18 to 80. They are male, female, trans, non-binary, straight, LGBTQ, all races, ethnicities. But in the nearly 11 years we've operated as a business, we've observed that Make Love Not Porn is especially a revelation to men. More men send us grateful emails, leave appreciative comments than anybody else because we are something unique that men will find nowhere else on the internet, which is a safe space where men can be and watch other men being open, emotional and vulnerable around sex. You would not believe the number of men who write to us regularly and say, I just watched my first video on Make Love Not Porn and afterwards I cried.
Wow.
I've said for years, I wish society understood the opposite of what it thinks is true. Women enjoy sex just as much as men, and men are just as romantic as women. Yet neither gender is allowed to openly celebrate either fact. We'd all be better off if they were. I picked up a wonderful Twitter exchange last year between two men. The first man tweeted as a joke, he tweeted, hey guys, I've got this really weird fetish. I've got this kink where I want to watch porn where people are honest, loving, loyal, decent and really like each other. Hit me up with your hottest links, please. And another man replied and he said, there's this website called Make Love Not Porn where you can watch real couples making love. He said, I watched a video where the woman said to her man, I love you, while they're making love. He said sincerely, I cried when I heard that.
Wow.
Make Love Not Porn is one of the answers to toxic masculinity.
Wow. this is the amazing of making interviews, because you never know how this interview is going to be, and this is an amazing interview. I thank you so much for that interview, because I sincerely doesn't know so much about the business and this webpage, and I promise you that will be inside the webpage and see all these videos, and thank you for that.
Yep. No, it's a pleasure, and I'll tell you, I hope you'll watch my talk at the end of today, because I'm talking about all of this.
Okay.
But I'm doing something very important that I'm recommending to the advertising industry, because I am not one of those speakers who stands up there and tells you what to do. Everything I'm going to talk about today, I'm doing myself.
Excellent.
And so my talk is all about the power the advertising industry has to reinvent aspirational culture, to make people want different things. And so I am living my own philosophy, because with Make Love Not Porn, I am reinventing aspirational culture around sex. And so ultimately, Make Love Not Porn's mission is to help end rape culture globally.
Wow.
And we end rape culture by doing...
This is a big goal.
Yep, but we have 11 years of proof of concept. So we end rape culture by doing something very simple that nevertheless nobody else anywhere is doing. We end rape culture by showing you how wonderful great consensual communicative sex is in the real world. Our social sex videos role model good sexual values, good sexual behavior, and then here's the important part. We make all of that aspirational versus what you see in porn and popular culture. That's it. It's that simple. It works.
And let me tell you something. The success of the amateur porn is another proof that the real sex is better for the business than the act sex.
Exactly. So I have to explain to people regularly that 99% of what is billed on the internet as amateur porn isn't. Okay, it's professional production companies.
It's not amateur itself.
No, it's pretending to be amateur because they know that's what people want to see. I have to say to men, those dorm rooms don't exist, you know. But also, a lot of real amateurs, when they create amateur porn, they are replicating the professionals because they think that's what people want to see.
Oh.
And on Make Love Not Porn is the only place where you will see the sex we have in the world for real. But you're right about the scale of the opportunity, because 2 points of evidence for that. The first is that, as we discussed earlier, it's very frustrating that Google bans Make Love Not Porn from doing paid search ads, okay? Because right now, all around the world, every day, people search for Make Love Not Porn without knowing that we exist. And what I mean by that is, the top organic search terms that send traffic to us are make love, not porn, real sex not porn, video sexo na porno, make love not porn where they don't know there's a company actually called that. One young man told me that he found us when he Googled porn that is not porn. He was so fed up with everything out there, wanted something different, didn't know what to search for. When you search porn that is not porn, you find make love not porn. That's how much the world wants us and knows it needs us. So that's one point of evidence to scale the opportunity. But the other point is, to the point you were making. So at the end of every year, Pornhub releases its own year in review study. So every year, Pornhub analyzes its own gigantic trove of data and identifies the key trends it sees on its own platform. So a few months ago, earlier this year, Pornhub released their year in review for 2022. And they identified the number one trend across their gigantic platform as what they call reality. People are looking for real. And when that study came out, I shared it all over social media and I said, what all those millions of people are looking for, although they don't know it yet, is make love not porn. And so that's why I'm working to raise funding, because I just need investors to back me, and I can capture all of that opportunity Make Love Not Porn can be as big as Pornhub when we have the investment that enables us to capture all the people looking for real. And by the way, if there are any open-minded investors in the Dominican Republic, I'd love to talk.
Excellent. Yes, Cindy, thank you very much for your time. Thank you for being here in Dominican Republic, and I wish that you have a success visit here and a lot of funding from the Dominican Republic. And let's make a meeting with the people in Google, because I think that they have a big opportunity.
They do.
A business
they
opportunity.
Do. Yeah, we are the socially responsible business to partner with. Absolutely.
And you are giving what people are looking for. You are pushing something.
Yeah, no, exactly.
This is you are satisfying a need.
Yeah, exactly. A massive worldwide need. And by the way, the importance of that is, I like to say that Make Love Not Porn operates in the single biggest market of them all. Not sex, not porn, the market of human happiness.
Yes, and education.
Yeah, exactly.
And also education, that is so important nowadays.
Sex education through real world demonstration.
Yes, I know that my church, my Catholic church or evangelic or Muslim is not happy with this interview, but I'm sorry, this is real life.
Yep, no, and also it's a good thing.
Yes.
Again, we are teaching people that porn is not sex in the real world. And so I would like to encourage the Dominican Republic. My message to you is, please make Dominican Republic love not porn.
Thank you, Cindy. Thank you for your time, and it was a pleasure to talking to you.
Great talking to you too.